You're watching Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read. This week we're introducing Keep Moving On, The Migration of a Punjabi Sikh Family by Amrit Singh. The edition that we're looking at is the softbound edition that was published this year, actually fresh out of the presses in November of 2020. Amrit Singh is a first-time author, but many of you will have come across him previously in the music world, where he goes by the name Noise. He's one half of a rap MC duo, Moving Cool, alongside B Magic, his longtime collaborator, and anyone who's ever watched a Cover to Cover should have noticed his name appear in the credits, and that's because our opening credit theme and closing credit theme is a beat produced by Amrit Singh, aka Noise. So what has pushed a very talented and successful MC to author a book, and all that while still in his 30s? Well, Keep Moving On, as the subtitle says, is all about the migration of a Sikh and Punjabi family to Canada. But this book is so much more than that. Amrit Singh was instigated to write this following the deaths of two close family members and the diagnosis of his mother with cancer. Quite a troubling time in anyone's life, and one that leads you to ask questions about who you are, the relationships you have with others, particularly those who are your loved ones and nearest and dearest, and how it is that you got to where you are today. So if we take a look inside, we find, as well as the contents, where we have some 20 chapters across 200 pages, there is also a very handy glossary. There are a number of pages dedicated to reference notes for different occurrences that are mentioned in each chapter. Although they are not footnoted, they are referenced using their page numbers. And also this book has been co-launched with a musical EP. So there is a 4-track offering that you can go online and download, and there is a QR code in the front couple of pages that links you directly to Noise, Amrit Singh's website and Bandcamp page, where you can do just that. In the opening chapter, the author hoists some quite lofty ideals and philosophy, albeit put very succinctly, about how the past is intrinsically linked with the present. We are quite literally carrying everything that came before us. And so over the course of this work, what Amrit Singh does is focus on one particular member of his family, his father Satnam, and his journey from the Punjab to settling in Canada. And quite a journey it is throughout this entire work, taking in a whole heap of different countries, a number of different jobs, and a real perseverance to keep moving on. Naturally, as you'd expect with a work like this, there is a chronological progression to the book itself, and it takes in some quite major happenings that are going on around the globe at the time, particularly in the Punjab, of course. So the 1975 to 1977 Indian emergency period, the events of 1984, and settling in modern day Canada and being raised in a Canada that was a multicultural melting pot of different communities, particularly migrant communities in the 1980s and the 1990s. This work is an absolutely fascinating read. You will not want to put it down at all. Throughout the entire work, Amrit Singh's exceptional talent as a storyteller, narrating the accounts of his ancestors and recent history, leaps out of the pages and gives us a story that not only mirrors and reflects our own path to where we are today, whether we're Sikh Punjabi migrants or not, but also makes us want to go out and research about our recent history and how it is that we come to be in the places that we are. I am not showing any bias or any prejudice. The fact that I've met him a few times and hold him in high esteem is not the reason why I'm waxing lyrical about this book. Since the physical copy has landed on my doormat, I have loaned it out to two separate people who both also devoured it and are now or have already ordered their copies. This really has the capacity to be a game changer of a work for anybody who is growing up, particularly in the West, from a Sikh Punjabi background. It will make you think very differently about those who came before you and their stories. It will make you think about who your grandparents were, who your great-grandparents were, that these were real living people and not just images that are forever stuck in photograph albums that we look at. That these were living, breathing people who had ambitions and dreams. And whilst we may feel that way to a certain extent about those nearest and dearest to us now, what this work does is instigate so much provocational thought about the good and the bad that comes with learning about your ancestors and how to weigh that up, how to fit that in with the fact that we are migrants in another country, and one which doesn't always invite us or make us feel as if we belong here as part and parcel of society. It's going to raise a whole heap of questions, and I am very excited to say that this book will be making it on to the Sikh Studies course that I teach, and will be one of the reference points and a few slides that go into our topic on migration. That's the high esteem with which I think this is a book that many of us have been waiting for. Much of that is down to Amrit Singh's talent as a writer and narrator. Part of it is obviously down to the actual account of what his father goes through, and then the tragedy of his mother's cancer diagnosis and all of the problems that come with that. But ultimately, it's because, as Amrit Singh wanted to do with this book, he makes the ordinary extraordinary, because ultimately that's what all of us are. And that's how we've got to the point where we are today and where we keep moving on. Sorry to use that twice in the video, but I really love the title and the fact that it fits so well with the writing. But enough gushing from me about Keep Moving On, the migration of a Punjabi Sikh family. We want to know what you think, so please leave us a comment below and share your thoughts on Amrit Singh's debut work. Make sure you've subscribed to the Naujwani YouTube channel so that we see you here again next time on Cover to Cover, our guide to the Sikh and Punjabi books that you need to read.